Hello and welcome to From Dreams to Reality, a Business Tale podcast interview series. I'm your host, Jerry Covella, and today I am joined by the amazing Jason Werner, who is the owner of Everclean Pools and Spas, headquartered in Paterson, New Jersey. Jason, my friend, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you briefly introduce yourself and your business, highlighting your journey as an entrepreneur?
Okay. My name is Jason Werner. I'm the owner of Everclear Pools and Spas. We're in our 14th season. I never thought I'd be an entrepreneur in my life. In fact, I was pushed into corporate America by my parents. I always did very well in school, and everything was going fine. I was working for Morgan Stanley, finishing up my financial advisor training. Actually, my final 3 weeks, I was based out of Ridgewood, New Jersey, and the final 3 weeks were set in the World Trade Center, and my second day of training there happened to be 9/11. I didn't last much longer in corporate. I tried dipping back in and out, but I couldn't hold it anymore. My dad had begged me to get therapy. I never thought I needed it, and he was right. I ended up having undiagnosed PTSD for 18 years, and it led me to, I was functioning, but I was a drug addict and alcoholic, and I was suicidal the whole time. And it wasn't until 9/11 of 19 where I kind of just put a post out on Facebook, because I was kind of just like fed up. And I was like, everyone talks about the people who died and lost loved ones. No one talks about the people that lived through it and still do today. And I just told everyone about the addiction, the alcoholism, and being suicidal. And the response was amazing, but I think the biggest part about that was I stopped lying to myself and to the world, because I was highly functioning, but just was not in a good place emotionally or mentally. And that night I was done. I didn't need anything anymore. I went clean and sober with no help. And I immediately after that started getting into a book called The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. A few weeks later, one of my very good friends from college, my fraternity brother, Rob Ruth, I saw him on his podcast, on Cardone's podcast, and I hit him up. He introduced me to the sales training. And at this point in my life, after 9 years in business, 80 to 100 hours a week in season, I was only worth, between my personal and corporate accounts, $63,000. I was broke. And the training I signed up for was 6,000 down with 900 a month, which was a big nut for me at the time. Sales just went like this. For the first 6 months, year over year, we were up 650%. So in January, when I was down to 35,000, because we were not even working over the winters at that time, which we are now, I committed to a course called Cardone Ventures 360. And that was, at the time, $30,000 for 2 days. And I only had 35 grand. Again, I reached out to Rob, who's been an amazing mentor to me. And he said, same thing with the sales training. If you apply it, it's 100% worth it. If not, it's a waste of your money. And I just took the leap. And the last 4 years have been incredible. We've scaled 700% revenue wise, an average of 35% a year, year over year. We went from 4 employees to 35 at our peak last year. And also from 4 vehicles, I think we've got 15 now. I've become a better boss because of it. I've been able to live a much better life and have a social life now. I've also, much more importantly, I provide a lot higher, I shouldn't say we provide much higher quality service to our clients. And I'm able to provide a life for my employees that in my industry is unheard of. We spend as a company around $250,000 a year, last year alone, just in benefits, bonuses, incentives, and education. And that's stuff I could not even do, 4 years ago, because I wasn't even thinking of that big, with the money.
What an amazing story, Jason. Thanks so much for being so candid. But before we get into some more specific questions, I'd like to ask you, we had a brief conversation before the start of today's session, and we had talked a little bit about positivity. Could you just kind of highlight what you said about positivity?
It's all about the mindset with, you know, I'm a very firm believer, anything that happens in your life, and I've had some major events. 9/11 was obviously one of the most traumatic, losing both my parents, where it was also extremely horrible. So 9/11, I try to find the positive in every negative situation. Everything happened, nothing happens to you, everything happens for you. Okay? There is a reason you're going through stuff. It's just the universe or whatever, but there is a reason why things are happening to you. But you have to be able to step back and look at it. So 9/11 got me out of corporate, which I was never geared for. I never saw myself as an entrepreneur because that wasn't even on the table. My parents, I was very fortunate, paid for my college, and I felt I had to follow their path. But they were very, old school. My dad was born in 32. My mom was born in 38. So go work for a corporation 40 years, work to middle management, get your 401k, your IRA, and then retire and hopefully have enough money. That was the game plan back then. Unfortunately, the world has changed a lot. So 9/11 got me out of corporate. During that time, I was very narcissistic, very selfish. After those following 18 years, excuse me, and with the death of my father, when he got sick, started getting sick, I started transitioning, and him and my mom became a big focus. When he passed, I moved home with my mom, and my life really revolved around her and work. You know, so the death of my father made me realize that it's not about me. This guy, Jordan Peterson, Dr. Jordan Peterson, has a thing where he says, men don't grow up until they have children. Until someone becomes more important than themselves, they can't get out of their own head. Well, my mom became more important to me than myself. So I dedicated 4 years of my life until she passed. And then now it's my team and helping other people, coaching other companies, even pool companies, on how to scale and how to grow, because there's enough work for everyone. But it happened, all of those things happened for me, not to me. It's all about the mindset you keep. None of those events are positive or negative in the realm of the universe. They're just things that happen. It's what we attribute to them, and the feelings and emotions that we apply to them is what we deem to be positive or negative. Obviously I miss both my parents. I wish 9/11 never happened to me. However, they've all helped shape who I am today. And I have gleaned positivity out of those negative events. And anyone can do that. It's a muscle. You just got to work at it. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Very insightful. If you're not sure what success looks like, you're looking at it now, my friends. So I'm going to go back and ask, what inspired you to start your own business, and what was that one initial spark that led you to make that giant leap?
So 20 years ago, excuse me, I was actually a school teacher, believe it or not. It was one of the many careers. They say you do 7 careers in your lifetime. I did them all in my 20s. I had an opportunity to go work for another pool company as a project manager. I had 0 construction experience, couldn't even drive a nail in straight to a board. But I'm very good at logistics. I'm very good at being able to schedule and see things through, which is what that particular owner needed. I helped scale that company from 2 to 5 million in 5 years back in, the mid 2000s to the late 2000s. I think it was around 08 I started there. But the way that they were treating their clients, extremely transactional, not really caring. I mean, there's a lot of promises that were made in the beginning that were never followed through on. The owner was a very good salesman, but that's all it was. He really didn't care about the clients. As long as the client relationship was solid, he was fine. And as soon as it turned, he would stop answering the phone. I was on getting yelled at and having to pick up the situations. When I heard we were opening up a bunch of pools at that time, and when I told him we need to slow down. People are getting upset, and he said to me, "They're mad now. They'll forget about it when they're swimming." I knew that was no longer the place for me to be. So I kind of had a blowout, and I left on my own. And now I'm 33. I only had 10 grand in savings, and I had ripped my condo kitchen out 3 days prior. So I was kind of thrown into this. But what I do remember when I started there was a construction job, first construction job I've ever been on. It was a very cool spring day, misting, and you know, I was in a hoodie. Bucket goes into the ground. I look over. I see the whole family there, bundled up, except for their 5 or 6 year old son, who was in flippers, a bathing suit, and goggles. He thought he was swimming that day, and that's kind of where I made the connection of what we actually do for a living. We're not building pools. We're not servicing pools. We're helping families make memories that last a lifetime. And that really is when I would go on sales calls for new pools. That was a recurring theme. Why do you want? I always ask, why do you want a pool? Oh, we want a pool because I remember growing up, swimming with my friends, my dad barbecuing, having people over, my mom entertaining. So that's really the focus of what we do and why we're doing what we're doing. And when I realized things weren't going to change, I had to go out on my own, and it's been so rewarding, especially the last 4 years.
Fantastic. Great stuff.
Thank you.
So, yeah, you had mentioned utilizing coaching programs, and many entrepreneurs have mentors or sources of inspiration. Are there others who have influenced your entrepreneurial journey, and how have they contributed to your growth?
So I think a big misconception is you need to know your mentors. You don't. You can follow people's lives. Grant Cardone, I've met him in passing, maybe for a selfie at some events, but consuming his knowledge, his information, and applying it has been life changing for me. That being said, if I didn't have Rob, my friend, he owns a company called Bob Ruth Ford out in Pennsylvania. It's where we buy all of our trucks now and vans. If I didn't have him to support me and guide me, he's really become a huge mentor to me, where making that initial investment of the 6,000 plus 900 a month, if I didn't have him telling me it's worth it, Jed, do it. If I didn't have him telling me about that $30,000 course for 2 days and saying, if you apply it, you can make it work. And seeing what he's done with his own company has been amazing. I mean, he actually runs a car dealership in Pennsylvania from Florida. He flies it once a week. That's my goal for this company, not to maybe move to Florida, but we are looking to expand to multiple offices, possibly regional. And I can't do that if I'm in one location in one office. I think he has been key in that for me, understanding it's available. I got my friend also Ted and his brother-in-law Ryan. They're both younger than me, and I've seen what they've been able to do in the insurance and financial services field, and just they're doing it in a manner where it's very similar to what I'm doing. They care about their clients. They want to do what's right for the client. And these are a lot of industries, especially financial services and construction, where most companies are only looking out for bottom line. What can we make? Move on to the next. They're not like that. And if they can succeed at such a young age versus, someone who's older, a lot of times a little gray hair helps in these situations to grow faster. But Ted's brother-in-law Ryan, he is in his 20s and he's crushing it. I mean, I'm so impressed by both of them. So they're mentors of mine also in some facet or another, because I don't care how successful anyone is, there's always someone doing better. And you have to stay humble enough to understand that you can learn from everyone. You'll never know everything, and there's always some nugget of information you can get from anyone that's achieved success. The biggest thing I think though is mentors have to have big goals and show you that they're possible, have to be positive, not tell you what you're doing wrong, not say you have to do it this way, because everyone's way is different, more than show a path and say this is the way it should go, make it your own. And that's what I try to do with the people I coach.
Yeah. Yep. Powerful words. I want to kind of take a step back on something you mentioned before. Now, entrepreneurship often involves taking risks, obviously. And you had discussed some of those moments. What was that one pivotal moment where you had to make a critical decision that significantly impacted your business? And kind of go through what your mindset was at the time.
It has to be at the end of 19, realizing so I was about 41. I was 42 years old at the time. And that's an age where most people think it's over. Game over, you're done. You know, I'm in my 40s. I can't, what can I do now? You're at half your life. You still have at least another 40, 50 years left. And that kind of started resonating in my head. And then I start going through thinking of things like my first 20 years were a waste. I mean, I'm in school, then college. So, you know, and then I had 20 years that I wasted with PTSD and whatnot. But so I have another at least 20 hugely productive years and more productive years on a declining basis as I'm getting ready for retirement. I'm at the peak right now. So that's really what hit me. But you know, being broke at that time and making the commitment to that $30,000 course, that was like you're sinking or swimming. You know, you're gonna make this work. Because I was always a grass is greener kind of guy. You know, yeah, I'm doing this, but what about over here? And oh, I'll do this network marketing thing, and I'll do this over shiny object syndrome all over the place. You got to commit. And at that point, when I put that much money, that my mom was telling me, I'm crazy. It's never going to work. My friends are telling me to buy quads or side by sides and go out into the woods with them and just, you know, take time off, buy a boat or put a down payment on a house. Like I had no money for any of that. It's like, so I'm going to take the only amount of savings I have that I'm living off of and just blow it. So I decided to invest it. And I say invest and not spend because money invested produces an ROI down the road. Money spent is wasted. And it was one of the best investments. And people still tell me, like, how could you spend that much for 2 days? And I tell them, I'm glad it was that much money, even though I didn't have it. 'Cause if I didn't have that much skin in the game, if it was like a $5,000 or $6,000 course, I just kind of would have blew it and said, I'll go to the next one.
Yeah.
At that level, it was such a big jump and so uncomfortable. And you know, when you get uncomfortable, you have to lean into that. That's the universe telling you that's the path you have to take. I just did it, trusted in my friend Rob, his words, started to finally trust in myself is the biggest thing, and made the leap.
And the rest is golden history, right?
Yes, sir.
Good stuff. Good stuff. As active as you are in your business, and I know you dedicate a lot of time to your community and volunteering and contributing, how do you maintain a work-life balance as a business owner? And do you have any personal rituals or habits that keep you motivated and focused?
Yeah, this is gonna sound a little cheesy for the rituals and habits. The first part, anyway. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, out loud, I say 5 things I'm thankful for, and the things are different every single day. We are genetically engineered through our history, our evolution, to automatically go negative. Fight or flight, you gotta, you know. So if you wake up in a negative mood and you don't change that, you stay on that path all day, and everything becomes hugely more stressful. So 5, and it's different every day. 5 things I'm thankful for, grateful for. I think an attitude, being in gratitude is super important. Then this is before I open my phone, anything like that, and then I take out my notepad and I write down all of my personal, professional, and financial long-term goals. It takes me about 5 minutes, as if they've already happened. If you write them as if they've already happened, your mind does not know the difference between reality and what you tell it. You're literally creating your own reality. That is the law of attraction, creating your own reality. The other thing is if you write down, one day I'll have this, I hope to have, I will, you're telling your mind that you want it, but it's not important enough to reach. As far as work-life balance, that's a hard one for me. I'm a high driver. You know, even when I was having my issues, I would meet my friends at the bar super late because did have issues. Like, you work too much, you got this, you're doing that. And it always just kind of like grated me. because I knew I should be working, but I really didn't want to. Um, oh, hold on. There we go. Sorry, I was just getting my email off. I really knew there was more for me, and I didn't want to be hanging out all the time. So even when I had issues, I was a worker, and I've been able to, with the way we've grown the company, with the way we've really scaled it. We have gotten out departments, service and construction. We still work together. We're Everclear. We're a family, and we don't separate between the two. So I've been super fortunate. My mom had fallen at the end of 22. She had Parkinson's, and it would happen while I was at work. And for 6 weeks, she was in a nursing home. And because of the way I have the team structured, the company structured, and key people in place like Kristen, Madeline helped me run this. And my team really does look after each other, including me. I was able to spend 4 to 6 hours a day at her bedside until she passed, which I never would have done. And last year, I've been able to go visit my aunt twice for a week and a half in California, who's 96. I'm actually leaving for a wedding in California middle of next week, this Saturday. I'm not going to return until the following Monday. I'm going to visit family out there, visit my aunt, and then go to the boot camp and bring in 2 of my employees there with me. And it's just, it has to be structured. It has to be planful. I don't fly by the seat of my pants. Everything is scheduled. Does everything on the schedule get done? No, but you got to prioritize that stuff. You know, you set your day. When it throws you a curveball the day, you just got to be like, okay, what is the most important thing that has to get done? What can I delegate out? You got to trust people. I think that's most entrepreneurs' biggest problem. That was my biggest problem, is micromanaging. And I learned to trust other people, and it's been life-changing. And for them too, because when a boss is dictating, this is what you have to do, you lose all creativity. They lose all creativity. They lose all drive to do better. And they're just waiting to be told like a child. And since I was able to just do this, they've all grown so much as people, as professionals. And because of that, I can now pay them more because they're more valuable to the company. Yeah. So financially, it's been a windfall for them too.
Absolutely. Right. How to build a solid team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And empower them.
Yeah.
Well, great stuff.
Mr. Richard Branson, he says, don't take care of your customers, take care of your employees. They'll take care of your customers.
Yep. Absolutely. Now, how about the business landscape is always evolving. How exactly do you stay adaptable and open to change? Are there specific strategies that you use to maintain the ability to be innovative?
First, I say humble. I know what I know. I know what I don't know, but I don't know what I don't know. So I have to be able to listen to other people and their points of view and collaborate. I think that's one of the biggest things, because once people reach a certain level, most people, they think they know it all, and their mind just shuts down. Once you start asking, how can we improve? It opens up, and you start looking for more answers, which is collaborating with other people. I try to stay on top of industry trends, especially in the competitive landscape. We are spending an inordinate amount of money on marketing and advertising, an extremely uncomfortable amount. But given that we don't have the COVID bump in the outdoor living field anymore, we have to push to create our own market, our own economy. Mm-hmm. It's paying off. We are definitely busier than a lot of people. My salesman's booked out for the next 2 or 3 weeks. You got to take chances. You got to talk to people. You got to stay on top of innovation. Most people don't want to learn about new products until it becomes mainstream. I like to be an early innovator and show people, my clients, what the other people aren't showing them. And it sets us apart. It differentiates us in the marketplace. It's saturated.
Yep. Yeah. It's important to maintain that unique position in business, right? Mm-hmm. That's how you overcome competition. So what's next for Jason Werner? You have any plans and goals for your business?
Our goal right now is 50 million a year in revenue. across multiple offices, maybe some hardscaping divisions. Again, that is so my employees can grow and improve their families and their lives. I got a lot of great guys that never went to college, some didn't graduate high school. There's no reason they can't be making six figures a year and retire millionaires. And I keep hammering that into their heads. It's a story you tell yourselves. I want to increase my philanthropic efforts. I run a food drive every year in my parents' memory. Last year was the 5th year. I match all donations up to $5,000. We turned about $60,000 in total donations into, I believe it's around $80,000 to $85,000 worth of food. We buy the food from a local ShopRite that extends their all their discounts in perpetuity. So I don't have to worry about limits, and they deliver and donate it. So we have direct impact, and we do it during the summer where most kids aren't in school and they don't eat because we're working in an inner city environment, urban environment. I would love to expand that, make that a foundation and have it, self-feed. I would love to get something helping the vets, especially with PTSD, as I'm acutely aware of how damaging and soul crushing that could be. And just really helping as many families as I can make memories that last a lifetime. So when their kids grow up, they can do the same with their kids. I mean, that's all it really comes back to, is helping people enjoy time with their families, because I'm so family oriented. And in today's world, with everyone's just doing this and on a screen, and no one's looking at each other anymore, communicating. When you're poolside, when you're in the pool, you're actually interacting, you're engaging, and that's what they're going to remember, not what TikTok video they were watching. So really, my biggest goal and driving force is helping families make memories that last a lifetime.
Great. So last question for you, my friend. What advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs who are just starting their journey or facing challenges in their own business?
Oof, that's a big one. It's going to take a lot longer and be a lot harder than you think it's going to be. That's number one. A lot of people think 6 months to a year. Most companies don't turn a real profit for 5 to 10 years. So be willing to put in the effort, be willing to put in the work. And gentleman I follow and listen to called Andy Frisella, he calls it being aggressively patient. Work as if it's going to happen tomorrow. Hammer down, keep driving towards it, but have the patience to understand it's probably 10 or 20 years off. So you have to have that. Something that I really failed to do for the first 9 years because of my mental state and the way that I was spread so thin in the business was actually taking care of my employees. I would not have wanted to work for me 5 years ago. You really want to treat your employees like family. Don't fall into the trap that they're there to make you money. It's called service leadership, right? My job now, because I'm out of the field for the most part, is to assist my employees doing their job and to assist them in their lives. If you make it about other people, you have to make your reason, your why you're in business. It can't be about the money. It can't just be about selling. Why are you doing what you're doing? And it has to be bigger than yourself. Mine is expanding my philanthropic efforts. Mine is helping my employees grow personally, professionally, financially. Mine's helping families that make memories that last a lifetime. It has to be bigger than yourself, and treat your employees super well. Understand that it's never going to be a straight line. You're going to do this. Be ready for the curveballs. Understand when clients get upset, it's never personal. That's one of the things I had the hardest time with. When they're paying you for a service and they have expectations, you got to be able to stay logical, unemotional in those situations, hear them out, let them vent, actually listen, and be able to respond in a manner that's going to resolve the situation. Because at the end of the day, these are going to be your cheerleaders. Your biggest problem clients are the ones that are going to turn around and praise you when things go well. Mm-hmm. And I think finally, just know when things really do, the S really hits the fan, just know this too shall pass. Kristen in my office, she's like a sister to me. I used to think everything was a world-ending emergency. And she goes, Jay, no one's going to die. Calm down. work the situation, and I've really been able to do that. And now when things really do go wrong, I'm able to stay calm and say, this too shall pass. And we can work through the issue with the client, with our staff, with our vendors, or whatever it is, and come to a great resolution. But that's what you have to understand as an entrepreneur.
Wow. Jason, great insight, my friend. Again, thank you so much, Jason Werner, for an amazing tale. It was great meeting you and learning more about your entrepreneurial journey and the positive spirit that you carry with you. So to everyone watching today, I look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Have a great day.